In the last 2 years, a great workplace disruption happened, and we're still figuring out the new normal. And navigating talent market in this changing scenario has its own set of challenges. Great attrition persists, employer-employee dynamics appear to be changing, and quitting is up at the same time, so are the wages.
Not just in the Western media, I think even in India, more and more people over the last 2 years, given that people have been working remotely by choice or by force, have lost that sense of connection with the organizations. And when that sense of belongingness is lost, I think the stickiness goes down. Then you're just chasing more superficial aspects like money or inflated titles, etc. And that's what we're seeing more so in the startup ecosystem.
But if I really look at it, this entire concept of great attrition, great resignation, the way it's being said, my fundamental view is that it's just a manifestation of talent in terms of what they want, which earlier they didn't have a voice and now they have a voice.
I rather would say, from great resignation to great attraction, I would rather say it as great realignment. I think more so in the past than now, you see, employees are being very vocal about what they want. Now they're making those, choices.
Why the great resignation is happening? For me, I'll share one very, personal experience of mine, and I think that will sum up what some of us have spoken. Did pandemic play a role? The answer is yes. Of course, pandemic played a role because how people view work has completely changed, right? It's more of, it's no more work, but their lives is more, holistically is what they think.
So always at Bridge Labs, we've been looking at, what's the opportunity we can create. If only 20% are employable freshers in tech, how can we make the other 80% employable and take them to job? If there are only 30% of our lateral talent out of 5 million software engineers are employable, how do we look at the 70% and be that skill to job methodology?
So the way that I would redefine the great resignation bit is that I think the definition of career for people have changed drastically. And this would mean different things for different population group, that's the working population group that we have, different genres of working population. I mean, if you talk to women employees, things are completely different, right? So diversity, if you talk to people with disability, completely different narrative. If you talk to the millennials that we keep referring to, a completely different narrative for them. If you talk to people my age, right? I mean, it's a completely different narrative because we've kind of figured out that, hey, this is not the end all of everything, and we need to kind of relook at how we want to work, how we would want to live.
We have definitely shifted from employers market to employee market in technology space for sure. And the second thing is that if we are not able to generate the pool which is required today for the industry, and the good news is that the opportunities are going to be tremendous because AI, ML, autonomous vehicle, all these are just beginning to happen.
I think some of the basic nuances that any team member or any person in the organization is looking for has not changed prior to COVID as well as right now, right? We are talking about things like culture, building a sense of belongingness, maybe, first-time manager, and making sure managers are trained enough to give the right kind of guidance to team members. All of these are things which people have been looking for from their organizations from last so many years. I think what has changed primarily with COVID is that most of us became remote and hybrid. So the amount of opportunities that were available with people has increased a lot, right? And second thing is there were certain things which were considered as taboos, right? If someone is taking a break, pursuing a hobby, thinking about their family, I think we were always thinking more as an employer-driven market where our emphasis always used to be to say that, if you are not working, then what will you do, right? You have to always continue to work. And those are the nuances which have changed. And those are the nuances which are getting accentuated now.
Understanding different talent segment and their needs and the different markets that we are operating is the first premise that we are looking into. there are certain roles and jobs which require people to be meeting customers and being physically present to kind of do their roles. So those are the roles which need which I think we also have started kind of ensuring that connect happens.
We as people practitioners have a lot of dependability on our shoulders. Two things when we talk about HR, most of us are from people function. HR is not resource, it is relationship. Whenever we have seen, specifically how are we embedding the value system in the organization of building up relationships with the line managers.
I think what we are trying to focus on is, get our story there wherever possible, and really figure out how do we look at growth, just not as an organic process, but also in organic ways, looking at acqui-hiring, and how do we really continue to look at the talent at a larger level, right? And that is one of the reasons why we keep on making investments, buying smaller companies at all point of time, right? I think that becomes extremely critical, right? And that is one. Second thing is, for us, looking at talent is not, I've worked with some larger companies, and one thing that I realize is that you can't slot a talent if there's a great talent, right? Most of the companies do this mistake of slotting a talent, of saying that a person is for A role, B role, C role. One of the key differentiators today with the startup companies, or also with some of the companies like Jio, for example, is we hire a talent and then cultivate them and find greater, bigger roles for them, right? And that's the reason why people, if you look at our talent pool, specifically at a senior level, right, for technology organization, they are not doing a thing at any point of time. They are doing multiple things, right? And it's not something which we have done intentionally. It's essentially how the culture of the organization has been over a period of time, right? And I think that creates great deal of alignment, right, with the organization.
It was indeed lovely having all of you. A lot of learning for us. Like I mentioned, we will come back to each one of you for more deeper conversations, and we take it from there. Thank you indeed.